Okay, I'm going to do a little intro here. So Eunice Van Winkle-Ray is a publisher and operates as a small, not-for-profit educational institute for the benefit of appointed and elected officials at the state and federal levels. Her publishing company has conducted an extensive body of independent research to enumerate and preserve America's first principles while accumulating a library of historically significant books and related ephemera from a variety of news organizations, which is also now digital. I love Eunice's vocabulary. Holly and I had to look a few things up. All right. In 1997, Eunice became intensely interested in health and wellness after her mother's sudden death from cancer. She began to research books in the local bookstore for health, beauty, and well-being guidance and direction. Eunice surveyed what other doctors, nurses, microbiologists, nutritionists, exercise consultants say and write on how to live a long and vigorous life and to avoid the degenerative and debilitating diseases associated with premature aging. She is currently campaigning to make restorative oxygen therapies available to wounded vets with TBI and PTSD. Over the last 14 years, beginning at 55 years old in 2004, she began a part-time Arbonne business as a vehicle to help others improve their health position while adding another income stream to enhance her retirement years. She has worked consistently doing 6 to 8 nights a month, and today she is 69 years old, an Arbonne ENVP. She lives with her husband, who's a lawyer, and on a small farm in Kentucky raising organic food. She's a mother, a grandmother, and is actively involved with her 6 grandchildren, her church, and her community. She speaks on how the digital age is now and how Arbonne is perfectly positioned for the future in the digital economy. So you guys, please help me welcome, live from Kentucky, Eunice Ray.
All right, can you hear me? Good. Okay, good. Thank you so much for inviting me. You know, at 70, it's hard, almost 70, it's hard to stay relevant. And so I am just overwhelmed with all of this attention. So I appreciate it so much. Anyway, I do want to talk to you, and I don't have a lot of time, but I think I have 30 minutes. Is that right? Anyway, you can chat me and I can see that. You know, I am pretty good at this digital stuff, and for old, I'm kind of excited about that. Anyway, let me tell you something that is, things are going to change a whole lot, and let me see if I can get my screen to move. Okay, here we go. This is my why. Can you all see that? Aren't they wonderful? That's my little bouquet of people right there, and they are my 6 grands, and you know, I look at the timing and trends section of the Is Arbonne for You, and some of you are much younger and you haven't thought about it yet, but you have to wonder whether at 69, 70 years old, if this business that you continue to make an investment in is going to be around. Is it going to be viable? And there are many changes afoot, and Amazon is just one of them, and traditional retail. And we tend to look at these things that are going on in little pockets, but somebody needs to connect the dots for us. And that happened for me about a year ago when the CEO of Mercedes-Benz wrote an article that was in the Gulf Insider, probably a Florida paper, and he basically said lives will change dramatically in 20 years, which kind of was pretty exciting to me because can you all hear me? You want me to stop for a second? Or are we good? Give me the thumbs up if we're good in the room. We're good in the room? Got it. Okay. So I wanted to know, here, I had one question. Did Arbonne continue to fit? I mean, at 70, you got to start thinking about the time you spend because, honey, you ain't got a lot of time left. So if you're spending time, you want to be sure that it's worth it. okay? It's the first experience I've always had a surplus of time. I always knew I was going to live to be old and ripe and all that sort of thing. But you get to 70 and you start thinking about it. So was our bond on trend? Is it good in the timing? Are we fitting the digital economy? And that's what my friend, the CEO of Mercedes-Benz said about it. And yes, we are we're moving from the bricks and mortar to click and order, as you know. Jeff Bezos has taught us at Amazon. He has trained the marketplace for us. He has taught people how to buy online at a discount and have it delivered to the door. That is fabulous, because that's exactly what we do. I am Amazon with a face. That's all I am. And 70% of the market wants to talk to me. 30% want to buy rock bottom price. Those are price shoppers. And it doesn't matter if it's pure, safe, beneficial. They're going to pay the least amount of money. Okay, but 70% of the market, which is most of the market, are interested in products that are pure, safe, and beneficial. And I don't know if you saw the report that came out of Missouri about Johnson & Johnson with the baby powder, but the award, the court awarded 22 women over $4.6 billion, because the link was made between Johnson's baby powder and ovarian cancer. The problem for Johnson & Johnson was that it is said that they knew in the 80s, the 1980s, when 70% of America was using baby powder. My bum was powdered with it, and I powdered my baby's bums with it too. All of us were using it, and they knew there was a link to ovarian cancer. So I will tell you that has cost them dearly, and it is a huge problem because it taught the marketplace that judgment. I'd never fail to mention it, because most people think if it's on the shelf, you can trust it. I mean, somebody's vetted that, right? Hasn't the FDA said, yes, that's a good thing we can use? Well, no, they haven't, because they don't vet those products. They don't. Cosmetics, nutrition products are not regulated by our own agencies. So for Arbonne to take and say over 2,000 harmful and toxic ingredients are not in those products is huge. So we have a product that's got legs, and it's got legs right now because for the first time, the marketplace is keenly aware and wants to know. In the 1980s, we just trusted. We just used whatever. But now people understand that things are not so good, that the food system needs to be checked, and buyer beware. And also what we put on our bodies matters enormously too. So I want to tell you that what I have learned is that we will witness great change because of artificial intelligence, robotics, automation, and more. And robots are slated to take over a third of the jobs by 2030. That is 11 and a half years. Software advances will produce great change in medicine, law, smart cars, driverless cars, and more. And it will have an incredible effect. This piece is called a singularity. That moment in time where after that, everything is different, very different. For example, when the printing press was invented, it had an effect on government and religion, and everything in life was different because of the printing press. People could hold a book in their own hands. Other than that, they were highly prized, and very few of the people had a book. So what's happening at 2030, according to my friend, the CEO of Mercedes-Benz, who is also quoting Ray Kurzweil, Kurzweil. Ray has written a book called The Singularity is Near. That moment when the printing press came and was invented, that is a singularity. The next singularity is 2030, and that is the moment at which computers will have an ability to outpace human intellect and human analysis. And that, they say, is a moment in time at which things will change dramatically in every field, in every endeavor, and it will change even the way we look at humankind and what people and their value happen to be. So how quickly can this happen? Well, this is an interesting little example. The agricultural age of the 19th, well, millennia before that, the agricultural age came to kind of a screeching halt with the industrial age, the advent of the industrial age in the 1900s. And this is the most wonderful example. This is 1905, Fifth Avenue, Easter Parade, and there's one automobile on the avenue. And then within 8 years, in 1913, there is one horse and carriage, and the rest of the avenue on Easter is full of cars. And my question to you and to myself as I pondered how quickly this shift came, if you owned a livery stable, if you grew great fields of hay, if you made tack and saddles and serviced that flesh horsepower, would you be ready for the automated horsepower that was coming online and becoming part of changing everything, building roads and making fuel and all of the differences that would happen because of that invention, the automated world. Even World War I was an automated war, industrialized war, the machine gun. All of those things began to change, not only the way people lived, the way they, in every facet. So it happens pretty quick. And that was the other shocking thing to me. So what Ray Kurzweil and the CEO of Mercedes-Benz are telling us is this is going to change. Now, I'm going somewhere with this, and I want you to know that my whole point in looking at this was, am I in a right business model and in the right company for these changes that are coming? Because remember, I'm running out of time, and I have a moral obligation in my mind as an older person particularly to say to a young person, you can trust this business. They're going to be around another 40 years just like they've been around in the previous. And you can get into this, and I think you have every reason to believe that you can trust this business. Yes, Blockbuster, I want you to know that how blind can people be? Blockbuster had the ability to buy Netflix for a very inexpensive price. And they said, no, people are not going to watch those live streams. That ain't going to happen. Not happening. Have you seen a Blockbuster recently? They used to be on every corner like churches. They're gone, okay? Everybody's live streaming. Netflix is probably one of the most valuable media companies in the world. So yes, it does happen. Does everybody see it? No, they don't. So you have to be cautious about this. You know, I think you can know in your heart that things are going to change, and it gives you a confidence and a sense of urgency to talk to people and to let them know. But I will tell you, there'll be as many people who freeze up and don't manage well in this change as will manage the change. I mean, it's just how people are made. And so I try not to be an alarmist, but I am very keenly aware that this is going to change the way people live and work in huge ways. So this is the newspaper. For example, we are now reading them. Here in Louisville, Kentucky, the Binghams own the newspaper. And I remember in the 1980s, Barry Bingham Jr. saying the day is coming when people will read on a computer, and computers were pretty new then, okay? He said they'll read their news on their newspapers. And I thought, I knew he was right in a way, but I couldn't imagine how that would work. And yes, now today when I get up, I check 4 or 5 newspapers across the world before I start my day. And I think about Barry every now and then and think, he was a prophet about that. He was absolutely a visionary. And that's what we're doing. We don't print on paper anymore. It's digital. Okay. We are reading books digitally. Bookstores are closing. And I think, frankly, that's very sad. I think the books are going to be important again, but you can't tell anybody that now. Jeff Bezos is the richest guy in the world today. The 3 richest men in the world are all techies. And he has absolutely taught us how to operate online. Jack Ma at Alibaba is another one in China. This is what is happening. Okay, it's very exciting. And the CEO of Mercedes-Benz, let me tell you what he said. It's kind of fascinating because he summarized it for us, and we didn't have to really think more about it other than just this. He says just think about this, 70 to 80% of jobs will disappear in the next 20 years. There will be a lot of new jobs, but it's not clear if there'll be enough new jobs in such a small amount of time. And he says, if you think of a niche, the CEO of Ben's, you want to go into in the future, do you think we will have that? If you think, I wonder if we'll have that, like Airbnb or what is the other one? Airbnb and the taxi thing. Anyway, he says, if the answer is yes, then you need to be about it right away because it can happen sooner. It will happen if somebody's already on it. And if it doesn't work with your iPhone or your smartphone, whatever you're thinking about, and remember, Arbonne is online, is digital, and we groaned under the pressure of changing the internet system at Arbonne. Remember that? Well, Kay Napier saw that we were either going to get current and be digitally viable, or we would not be a contender. And I think one of the reasons that Groupe Rocher was interested in Arbonne is not only do we fill their sort of view and vision, we're a complementary company to what they think is important, but we're also a contender in the digital economy. And I thank Kay Napier and her team at Arbonne for that, frankly. So he says, but any idea, the CEO of Ben's, if any idea for, his name is Dieter Zeiche, and I think that's probably butchered miserably. I don't speak German, and in Kentucky he'd be Dieter Zeiche, you know, so I don't know how to say his name. But anyway, that's his name. And he says, any idea you have that was designed for success in the 20th century is doomed in the 21st. Any preparedness that you have made to be ready for the digital economy, if you're in a 20th century model, you're not going to be a contender, okay? He says, if you're studying law, get out, because law schools, it's all going to be done online. CPAs, get out. That IBM Watson is taking over medicine. Pretty soon, the phone, I love this, the phone will be able to take a retinal scan, it will take a blood and breath sample, and it will be able to, with software, an app, able to diagnose or analyze 54 biomarkers to identify nearly any disease. It'll be cheap and it will be global. So we'll walk up to a client and say, hey, let's do your retinal scan, your blood and breath, and we'll get that when you start the 30 days, and let's take it at the end of the 30 days and see how you're doing. How fun would that be? So I think about this as a boomer, and, you know, we're not ready for, 40% of us, by the way, are not ready for retirement, just so you know. And we have not prepared. We are not financially able to retire. So when you see somebody old that looks like this, you go up and talk to them and be bold, because they may not want to admit that they don't have the money. But what the Wall Street Journal says is that the average boomer has $250,000 to retire, and that includes their home. That's no money. My husband paid into the Social Security system. He was a very prosperous lawyer. He gets $1,800 a month as his payout for Social Security. If you get it, if it's still around when you all retire, and it probably won't be, but don't say I said so, it's only $1,800. Honey, that won't put you in shoes, would it? So you need to do something else. You need to start another online income stream, because that, in the digital age that is coming, is your only hedge against the challenges that are coming. Because if one job opportunity gets pinched off, you'll have more than one going. And the 40-hour, 40-year pension and benefits job is gone, totally gone. What jobs will last now are 3 to 4 years, no pension, no benefits. So our kids, well, here's what it says. Well, let me show you this real quick. I'm ahead of myself. Half of millennials, according to the Washington Post, could compete with robots. That is so foreign to me. Oh my gosh. I mean, and it's a third to a half. So all y'all who are sending those beautiful young people to college that have loved their whole lives, and you think you're preparing them, you may be sadly, the only smart thing you might do is put them in a network marketing business, i.e. Arbonne, which is brilliant. Anyway, everything is shifting. It is totally shifting. We've gone to Bitcoin, Uber. That was the taxi thing. They're all software companies. Uber's software. They don't own any cabs. Airbnb, they're the largest hotelier in the world. They don't own any properties, but they are making a fortune. So thinking about this is really important. Colleges have become totally irrelevant in many ways. And the estimate is from the futurist speaker is that by 2030, 50% of colleges will collapse. People are going to do online learning. They're going to get online. They're going to shop. They're going to learn. They're going to do everything. They're going to get their wills done. They're going to look for homes. Real estate agents are gone soon. You're going to watch your video, and then you're going to buy your piece. You'll probably go look at the house and buy your real estate. In other words, what is becoming is something that is, you got to sit and just think about it. Next time you go on vacation, promise yourself you'll spend nothing but a week or two thinking about what is coming. And I promise you one thing, you will be absolutely thrilled that you're in network marketing. Network marketing is an idea whose time has come. In the 1980s, when I first heard about it, I was never a network marketer. Who would do that? And so I didn't even think about it. But when I was approached in 2004-03, I thought, okay, for my daughter who's 20-something, this would be a great job. And if she could make $4,000 a month in 6 to 8 months, I am game. Because then she's off my ledger. You know what I mean? I don't have to give her my opinion, which means I had to give her my credit card too. So that was always how she got the credit card. What do you think about this dress, Mom? So I thought, well, let's just get her in something that she would love to do. She, was a leader in her sorority. She never met a stranger. She'd be a natural. So she got into it. And today she's an executive regional vice president and has given me 3 of my most beautiful grandchildren. The other 3 are equally as beautiful. But here's the thing. She's never missed the first step. She's never missed, any of their firsts. And that was for me as a grandmother, a huge piece. What else is there? So, and she also had the money to give the brats to some babysitter so she could get out. You could lose your mind doing all that first. So anyway, 50% of colleges will collapse. Well, that is indicative of what is the value now of a college degree. They say knowledge-based education is outdated because the computers are going to burn you out. I mean, they're going to be much better than we are. So they're going to the soft aptitudes, the other intelligences, which is what makes Arbonne and network marketing so successful. Those are the intelligences that we have, the emotional intelligence, all the others that are there. And knowledge-based education is what education has been up to now. And Jack Ma of Alibaba says, with doing that, knowledge-based education, are not preparing the children for the digital economy. And he says that is true worldwide. Okay, so software will change everything. I told you all about the 70 to 80% of jobs that will disappear. Here's the robots. I can't wait to have a robot. I would like a driverless car. I've always needed a chauffeur, and I've always needed a butler. And if it's Rosie the robot or Rosie the robot, I don't care, as long as I don't have to do that. But these robots are going to be, they're going to take over. Cars will be automated. There's already an 18-wheeler that is driven from over by y'all down there in Southern California, all the way to Jacksonville, Florida. No driver. That ought to freak you out. Driving around, you look in your rearview mirror and there's nobody there. That's going to happen all more and more and more. And you got to understand that human beings are of less value, are not as critical to the mix, the employment mix we once were. And so I think people say, well, there won't be enough people to buy these Arbonne products. I said, oh, no. Yes, there will be. Personal care products and nutrition are vitally important product lines, categories. What your hedge is to build globally. There are pockets of people all across the world that will appreciate what we have. And that's why Arbonne is becoming a leader digitally, a leader in terms of clean, pure, safe, beneficial. People will want what we have. Your strategy is to build globally. So figure out how to do the digital, how to use the technology, travel and take your vacations where Arbonne is, or somewhere in the country where you can sit down and sit at a coffee shop and write off your trip, off your taxes, and prospect people and build globally. That's your hedge. Yes, George Jetson, I want you to know, was born, George will be born in 2022. Y'all thought that was a cartoon. It's not. And Rosie the robot is under construction this year. And Mr. Smiley, I think that's that guy looks with the mustache. He is a millennial right now in the storyline. This is happening, okay? Automation, robotics. And here's another, this is a great a TED Talk by Paul Tasner. He says about the age groups, I'm all over the place, but you all stay with me. This guy says that by 70%, there's going to be a massive influx of seniors into the workplace. And 70% of them, they have a 70% chance to succeed as entrepreneurs. Young people have only a 28% chance to succeed. So when you find somebody who's got 30, 40 years of experience, latch on to them because they have a very high rate of potential success as entrepreneurs, okay? Just so you know, stick up for the old guys. All right, we don't have enough money to retire. 26% of baby boomers, this is in 2007. I've started looking at this a long time ago because I'm a boomer. And found that 26% of boomers began their own business that year because they were unable to retire. Here's what $1 million, this is where you find that the household incomes, you know, a boomer has $250,000 to retire, including his house, including his real estate. And if you put, in 1987, if you put $1 million in the bank, you got to remember this, by 2007, your $1 million had buying power, 54% of the buying power that it had in 87. So not only are you have to keep pace with what you've invested, you've got to understand that inflation, destroys that value. That is why I am so excited to build a business that has a, let me see, 113. Okay, I got 2 minutes. I am so excited to build a business that has the potential for asset income. Yes, we have linear. You can do pure pay and work your heart out and get paid every week. I don't care about that. You know, I'm not going to live long enough to do that. Preferred, you do the preferred client and your CRM, and that's a leveraged income. You do it once and you sell it over and over and over again. What I'm most interested in is that I invest that 10 to 15 hours a week in time and build a global distribution system that acts like asset income. Okay, it acts like an asset, whether I touch it or not, and I touch it a little bit, but I don't touch it much. I am not the force that drives that. I'm not sending emails to say, do you want this month? I'm not doing any of that. What I'm building that asset income because that is willable. That is what those grandchildren of mine are going to get, okay? And I am so grateful to Arbonne. Somebody told me the other day we're one of 3 companies that will allow you to will your business. If anybody knows the answer to that and who the other companies are, I would like to know that. But the point is, we are able to will that business. And so after I'm gone, I know that it's going to be pretty exciting for my grands. They're going to love it. So from Gen Z to retiree, do you love that? That's like click and order bricks and mortar. Gen Z to retiree, we have a business model that will see you through the coming challenges over the next 10 to 20 years. And they're going to be really challenges. Exciting. I see the future not through the rear view mirror with what has been, but I'm looking full faced into the windshield of life. And I know one thing: network marketing, and our bond particularly, is a silver lining in this coming change. And you can be creative, be prepared, be consistent. Don't lose heart. This business has the ability to go the distance. And for timing and trends, that matters enormously to me. We have a paint by numbers business. It's like, it's a franchise without the cost. Everything you need is there. So I heartily recommend this business. As a matter of fact, I love the health and wellness. I built a nation on the health and wellness piece, no question. But now with the challenges that are coming in the digital, I lead with the business in a huge way now. I am careful to paint an exciting future for what's coming, and showing how network marketing might have not been, it's that pyramid thing in the 1980s, but today it's a diamond. That diamond has been reset in a new setting. And it has a whole new meaning and a whole new value. That it was simply an idea whose time it was before its time, but it is an idea whose time has come. And I am bullish about recommending to people that they can build a linear income, a leveraged income, but that precious asset income that is so difficult to build any other way is possible by investing time. I appreciate you all for listening. I am just delighted to be with you today. And isn't it fitting that I'm in Kentucky and you're in Southern California and we're talking, and it is that cool. See, we would have said cool. I don't know what you all say, absolutely or something, but we would have said it was very cool. Bye, guys.